evening, everyone. Thank you all. We have some guests with us tonight, and we want to thank you all for appearing here tonight and being with us here at the Peoria Park District Board of Trustees. I don't know, we're going to do some informal names to let everybody know who everybody is. You want to do that first before we go into our meeting? Can you hear me? Is it not coming? Let's see. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Is that better? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. We'll start with President Wilson. Would you like to go ahead and start around the room? Just announce, just say who you are and what you do with the school board.
Dr. Greg Wilson, President of the School Board.
I am Brenda Wilson. Board.
Thank you.
Martha Ross, I'm a school board member. Could you speak up? Martha Ross, your school board member. She's hard to hear.
Good evening, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am Lynn Costick, a member of Peoria Public Schools School Board.
Good evening, I'm Ken Ross.
People in the meeting. I'm representing Peoria Public Schools. Can you please just click unmute?
Christina Rose, Board of Education member.
Alexander Ikujaku, Peoria Public Schools Administration.
Is that all that we have online?
Mick Willis, Peoria Public Schools, CFO.
Could everyone online please identify themselves?
Brandon Bell, Director of Maintenance for Peoria Public Schools.
Okay, is that all we have online? Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Our board secretary, announce yourself, please.
Kyle Tompkins, attorney for Peoria Park District.
Carrie Ross, Superintendent of Finance for the district.
Ron Silver, Board of Trustees. Steve Montez, Peoria Park District Trustee, Central District.
Reagan Leslie Hill, Central District Trustee, as well as Vice President.
Robert Johnson, President of Peoria Park District Board of Trustees.
Emily Cahill, Executive Director.
Joyce Harrent, Central District Trustee.
Alex Sierra, Southern District Trustee.
Mark Slover, Northern District Trustee.
Becky Frederickson, Superintendent of Planning.
Matt Major, Supervisor of Maintenance and Repair.
Okay, well, thank you all. Oh, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to call the meeting to order. We will have the Board of Education members do the roll call first.
Thank you, Mrs. Costick. Mr. Ivory. Mrs. Rose.
Present.
Mrs. Ross. Mrs. McConnell. Mrs. Wilson. President Wilson.
Here.
We have 5 present.
Oh, thank you. And now the Peoria Park District.
Trustee Harrent. Trustee Montez.
Here.
Trustee Sierra.
Here.
Trustee Silver.
Here.
Trustee Slover.
Here.
Vice President Hill.
Here.
President Johnson.
Here. We will do we're going to stand, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but first we're going to have a moment of silence first, and then we go into the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to discuss the background first as to why we're all here.
So just a brief level set on the issues surrounding Central Park Pool. As you are hopefully all aware, in 1968, the Park District and Peoria Public Schools entered into a joint operations agreement for the use of Central Park Pool and the tennis courts at Peoria High School. Miles, can you flip through the first slide for me, please? You'll see the map there. It is an interesting arrangement that was a part of this agreement. The red L shape that is, you can see on the GIS map there, that is owned by Peoria Park District. The remainder of the parcel in the picture is owned obviously by Peoria Public Schools as part of the Peoria Central High School campus. As part of that agreement in 1968, the Park District did cover the cost of the construction of the pool facility, tennis courts, and some additional parking. And then throughout the term of the agreement, until, if you'll flip to the next slide, so Peoria Public Schools paid the Park District annually $25,000 per year for use of the pool to support maintenance and repair of the facility, as well as they supported the full cost of care for the parking lot. The Park District paid for all capital improvements and repairs to the pool beyond just normal operations. And the parties agreed in addition to share equally the costs associated with personnel, supplies, and utilities. So that was the case until, Miles, if you'll flip, May of 2013, when Peoria Public Schools notified the Park District by certified mail that it intended to no longer honor that agreement and stopped any payments for support of the pool. At that point, the Park District took over all financial obligations for the pool. In the fall of 2014, our Park District Board of Trustees approved a lease of the facility to PAW, which is the Peoria Area Water Wizards, who were at the time and still are currently the primary user of the facility. They have since that time taken over and managed the pool as a private entity. If that had not happened at that time in 2014, staff estimated that the tax subsidy for the facility would reach $250,000 per year to maintain the Central Park Pool. Miles, if you'll flip. Back one, sorry. So as we began the process to renegotiate the new agreement for PAW, their lease term ended in 2025. Our initial conversations were a recognition certainly that there was a need for a significant capital investment in the facility. And we talked about ways that we could potentially collaborate to cover those costs to move the pool forward for at least another 3 to 5 years. Our goal was to support the facility as a runway to either longer term options or finding a way to bring others to the table to support whether it was another pool or complete renovation of Central Park Pool. In May of 2025, one of those projects went out to bid that was a necessary replacement of a structural beam. Those bids came back at more than double of the estimated cost. Miles, please. In June, we were able to make a short-term fix to allow PAW to use the facility for its short course season over the summer, and to give PAW the opportunity to evaluate their options as we asked them to consider contributing to the capital repairs identified as necessary to support continued use of the pool. In July of 2025, the PAW board gave notice to the district that it would terminate its lease at the end of the term and asked for access through August. We were able to go on August 23rd and help to support their tenure at the pool and celebrate the facility's impact on the community. At that time, PAW parents were also notified of a change in their use schedule, and they worked to accommodate, they were accommodated by other locations across the community to support their swim team, and they were also able to support efforts to accommodate Peoria Notre Dame swim team as well. Miles. This is a list of just the anticipated initial capital needs that would be necessary to keep the pool operational. As you can see, there's about $1 million of costs there that would be necessary. That does not include any operating costs. It also does not really include any long-term needs of the facility beyond just those very basic needs to keep the pool operational. Miles? On September 15th, that's the last day that PAW will be in Central Park Pool. So at that point, the pool will be vacant. Miles? So because of that original slide, right, back to that image where the pool has, obviously, there's complex ownership that happens with that space between the building and the land. It is important that our boards come together, and we appreciate you being present with us tonight to have this conversation, to be able to figure out some sort of path forward to address the potential future of the facility. With the notice of PAW terminating its lease, the Park District currently holds the position, and I'm speaking as the board has directed me to, that it is not able to maintain, repair, and/or operate the facility on its own. As such, our board identified 3 possible options to share tonight. Miles? Option 1, the Park District would give all ownership of the building and the land surrounding Central Park Pool to Peoria Public Schools. Peoria Public Schools would assume responsibility for necessary improvements, and the Park District would, as needed, rent water from Peoria Public Schools to provide swim lessons or lifeguard training if needed. Option 2, the Park District and the school district agree that the building should be sold to a private party to update and operate to support the community's swimming needs. The parties would cooperate with each other on terms and conditions of the sale, including protection of the land as a public asset. Option 3, the Peoria Park District and Peoria Public Schools would agree to close the swimming facilities and secure the building until demolition. The Park District would transfer its ownership of the building and the land to Peoria Public Schools, subject to their agreements for securing and demolishing the building. Under all of these scenarios, it is important to note that the Peoria Park District will continue to support community swim lesson needs at its Riverplex, Gwynn Family Aquatic Center, and Proctor Recreation Center locations. Peoria Public Schools 150 will continue to support their student needs at Manual and Richwoods pools.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Cahill, for that. Kind of give us an idea of what we're going on, and we want to thank Ms. McConnell for arriving. Thank you again. Okay, we're going to, first of all, is there any citizens' request to address the boards, either board? Any citizens out there would like to have any discussion? None? Yes. Sir, yes. Come. We have a podium here. Just state your name.
Oh, you want me to go back? Miles, can you go back one,
Fill me-
please?
Fill me in with, oh, good, I can see from this side. Sure.
Is it on?
Is it on?
Alicia, yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you. My name is Aaron Points. Basically a District 150 graduate, Richwoods High School in 1989, or Bradley graduate of 1994. Swam on both facilities, and then in 2002, the last year that Bradley did have a field of men's and women's swim team, I was the assistant coach also at that time. And so it's kind of dear to my heart to continue to see a competitive pool in the area of this nature. It is the only 8-lane facility, competitive pool in the area. The other pools at Richwoods, Dunlap has a pool. There, 5 Points does have an 8-lane pool, but that's in conglomeration and not just with a school. But it is just one of the finest pools that we have in kind of central Illinois. So I was hoping to be able to see the longevity of that pool. And so I did take some time. I met with Ms. Cahill and the group of other Park District employees. I toured the facility with 2 general contractors. And then at that time, we set up an agreement that I would be able to try to find an additional structural engineer to have a second opinion. And I contracted that individual. He's out of the Rock Island area, has facilities of this nature, as especially because he's dealt with chemical exposed concrete in some areas. So it's kind of a good individual to reach out to. And I also contacted Bryce from Spear Industries, and he has both contracts with District 150 for the use of the pools and the maintenance, and with the Park District. They're out of Indiana. They quote themselves as the leadership of aquatic facility and maintenance. And so I did with him, he did a cost analysis of a full upgrade of filtration that would need to be done in the next 3 to 5 years. And there's 2 quotes on that. One is to have the diving well pulled apart and have a self-sustaining pool, because if I would believe that the pools need to be both used, or the state has to govern and allow the filtration to be completed and the 2 pools being able to be run off of one filtration system. But the state has not granted that as a possibility, so it may be a higher cost of over $50,000 to have the pool separated, because then it have to have its own filtration system as well. So the one bid is over $200,000, the other bill, the separate pools would be over $250,000. And that would need to be done in the next 3 to 5 years. Bryce had stated over the course of the last 10 years, and you guys can reach out and ask, there were suggestions of repairs that needed to be made, and the entities that were involved, you'll have to find out from him, said that they were not interested in making any of those repairs due to the cost. So actually the repairs are now greater than they would have been if they would have been, because that's where we're to a full repair filtration, because the current sand filters get patched readily, I think, when they leak, with an ironworks kind of specialist that just welds patches on the current sand filters that are there now. And that's from Matt and Rebecca. So I guess what I would be willing to do, and obviously would be an interesting in option 2 would be a private entity. I do have there's an existing in the past and can be a 501c3 of dock swimming NFP that would be able to work with obviously the school district. I would like to have maybe obviously the tax shelter of continuing that working with the school district. Peoria High sits closest, so obviously if I was able to rent the facility to others, I would like to go in with the school district, and obviously the Peoria High School would have first priority. I believe currently now they're co-oping with Manual High School, and my brother's the head coach at Manual. He and I had worked with the school district under Dr. Crott in the early mid 2000s to 2010, and we ran a Century 21 program for her at Manual when she was the Manual principal. And so again, back to the entity and youth sports and the commitment to learn to swim programs. Because my brother's, like I said, he still works for the district, and I do currently not. So I have the structural engineer. I do have the bid. It's still of a high amount, but I know personally I can pay that and take on that responsibility, and probably be able to handle the basically the repair over the next 3 to 5 years as that deemed necessary to be able to cover the full cost of the filtration. So my initial, I guess, the 2 bills that are out there that would be done correctly, working with those entities and fixed appropriately, would be close in reference to about $400,000, and that would be my commitment to be able to do that. I know that in the next 3 to 5 years, the school district looks at there needs to be a repair to the roof, and that is also about $250,000. That's where maybe if we were able to work an agreement with the 501c3 that's a tax shelter with the school district, is continue that relationship similar to the park district to maybe burden some of that cost, being that the building wouldn't be entirely mine. And there has been some contractors, because I've had several local individuals warn me that obviously if the land stays with the park district, which still might be good, but obviously I would be just left with a $500,000 bill at demolish at the opposed to the, and that's what obviously, or a portion that I would have. That would be obviously a burden that I have to be willing to share. But I would hope that that wouldn't come to that, be with the proper, obviously, improvements and continuation of running the facility. So that's kind of my Does anyone have any?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay, my first question is so your interest is to just see the pool live?
100% at any cost, correct?
Okay.
Well, I mean, not at any cost, but correct.
Right, and then the second is you are how much invested in this effort now? Your
Well,
personal
currently I
investment?
have a current contract with the engineer was $1,500.
Okay,
And that was a personal contract to get his plans
and you made that investment based on some understanding or just?
oh, no, well,
On
not an understanding, a notice that if there was going to be any future steps, someone would have to know. So obviously there was no pre-notion or no agreement made. It was just like, well, if this needs to be saved, I need to do extra to get a second opinion. Go to the second doctor, I guess, if you would, to find out, cost and severity of which it definitely needs to be addressed. And there's also the diving well is leaking in 2 locations as well.
And then my last question, what does a private and public partnership look like to you?
Well, to me, like I said, it would be a non-for-profit, so it would be a 501c3, but yes, another private entity.
But it's still a private entity?
Correct.
It's not a state or county or a city
That's
agency?
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So like I said, the main idea is, like Mr. Silver pointed out, sorry, at the beginning of the meeting, there are a few of these competition pools available in the area. And so one is just to maintain it, but my interest, I think I stated earlier, is somehow work with this school district because it sets straight across from Central High School. And my grandfather was a graduate in 1929 from Central High School. Yes, one of the oldest high school in Illinois. And so I guess it's some of the same personal interest and investment into the community in the area. And the agreement would be to try to make sure that Peoria High School has priority of that swimming facility. And then any other, if Peoria Notre Dame, or I know Metamora uses Richwoods High School. My daughter swims for Metamora. All 3 have at Metamora High School. They rent the pool from the school district, and they come in, and there's other pools other teams that would wish to do the same. But I guess the primary concern would be that Peoria High School would have a standalone, their own program and their own team. Just like, the Manual has the wishes to continue their program, Richwoods has the wishes to continue their program, and that would give the opportunity, because when you go to write like a swimming lineup and you start having a conglomerate of all the schools together, that just takes away opportunities for other swimmers at that time, because it can only, at like a sectional level at each meet, you can only have 2 representatives. So if by Manual and Peoria High going together, when they take that team to sectionals, if they do, they don't have 4 swim the 50 free. They now have 2 being able to swim the 50 free. So you're actually taking some of those possibilities away as those teams are joined together.
Okay, and then how is this going to be sustainable for you as a private entity?
Well, I currently coach for also the Peoria Y, which I've coached since 1994. We ran the 501c3, and we were contracted, and we bared all the expenses. We rented Pierce Communities Pool, Manual High School Pool, and the pool at 5 Points in Washington. We had 20 coaches, and we had over 250 athletes. And it was self-sustaining, and then the 501c was profitable. I also have done some extensive elite training, and over the summer I had about 16 athletes come from the Champaign area, the La Salle Peru area, and then local swimmers, and they were more of an elite national level swimmer, and those are the ones. But then I also have a learn to swim program that I've maintained for several years, because actually I had been renting Bradley's facility for the past 2 years, and had worked with and done a learn to swim program there at that time as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
One quick question for you. Have you looked at any area bond opportunities where you could get bonds to, work on this, buy this, and work on this particular?
No, I know that the initial it needs to be done so quickly, especially the structural repair, that would just be a personal investment.
Yeah, but the ongoing types of things.
Well, that's why I think it would be really good. One of the contractors I had was a relative and an uncle, and he made, I guess, a well statement. He says, he's always known that I've had a dream of kind of continuing a competitive pool. He said, well, your wisest decision would be to go in and conglomerate and in conjunction and an agreement with a school district. He said, that's your only chance to make it. Because yes, swimming pools are highly, they're not cost effective. But I would hope to be able to just at least run the pool at a cost free that it would sustain itself, not looking to make a profit. Because I currently do the same thing. I coach for a team and do that totally on a volunteer basis. So if I'm not driving an income immediately, I would want to have sustaining the facility. And there are plenty of opportunities.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a question. Thank you for being here and your presentation. What's the name of the not-for-profit?
DOC Swimming NFP.
And just to clarify, you're thinking that you would be able to cover the ongoing day-to-day,
Yeah, I currently am the
but
manager.
capital would be
Well, personal
the
funds and
government
then,
entity.
correct. But I have high knowledge on competitive pools. I've worked at competitive pools and managed them for over 40 years. I started at Will and Olds Country Club, was there for 10 years, and then it was donated to the Y. I was at, that's where I met Bryce from Spear when they redid the Country Club of Peoria pool. I was there for 5 years. Mount Holly built a new pool, and obviously they enticed me to come and work at Mount Holly. The board members did, so I was there for 3 years. I was at Ivy Club with Mr. John Meisinger, was the actual coach he was on the board at Ivy Club, so I was there in 2015, and then I've been back the last 2 years.
Okay. And can you clarify, when you were discussing the various capital needs, were you saying that you understand if you took this over, you would pay the initial capital fees?
Correct.
And then anything after, like
Well,
the
that's
roof
where
and the structural things?
I think that it says that, to work in conglomerate. I know that if I were to able to work with the school district and was given, or the park district, an allowance between $20,000 and $25,000, I didn't know those figures. That's what I had figured in my head, like a 10-year agreement, because that would be $200,000, but only taking it $20,000 yearly would sure benefit and make sure that it was successful. That's what kind of and to be honest with you, I don't even know the monthly Ameren bill. My guessing on the building would be between $2,500 and $4,000, but that is sheer estimates on other using of other facilities. I may be way off.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Aaron Points, Points.
Points, okay.
Yes, sir.
Aaron, actually, I didn't know that you were going to be here also to discuss this with us.
Okay.
I'm kind of, I'm somewhat surprised, but your interest is, do you know what the structural cost is?
It was $160,000. Yes, sir.
That was the figure that was given
Correct.
to you, and that was from who?
That was from the structural engineer that the park district that your employees have found and you have hired.
That was only 160,000?
Only 160,000. Yes, sir.
For the structural beam only.
Oh, the structural beam only. Oh,
Not the repair of the diving well.
the diving well.
It's leaking, so that repair is up and beyond. I have not gotten a cost on that. The repair of the filtration system is over 200,000 or over 250,000. Plus the diving well needs to be corrected soon. Currently, there's no structural damage, but obviously it is chlorine-based liquid that is leaking. So a leaky roof, pretty soon you do not have a building. So the diving well needs to be addressed quickly as well.
Well, I was given a figure over $1 million. Am I incorrect on this?
That's for all of the repairs necessary. Miles,
Gonna go
can
back
you
to the-
go back to the slide? Correct.
Demolition?
No,
Oh, here we go, yes.
this one.
Are you familiar with these figures?
No, sir. But the two contractors that had gone through said that the building has a very good skeleton. I would need to look forward to having it entirely replumbed and entire electrical through the entire facility. And we're willing to conquer those as well. But those would be updating the locker rooms, probably one at a time. And actually, I have the plans. If you could pull back up the photo of the aerial photo,
Can you go back to the first
because
slide
I
with
could,
words?
another stage of investment, I'd like to explain what would be done. If you see the kiddie pool that's out in front, it's like a splash pool. I don't think it's been operable for the last 10 years. But my objective would be, obviously, all the sheltered area that extends would be to enclose that and to put in a therapy pool. And your HVAC would be separate. And it's very important that the two pools are not sustained in the same space, because if you have a 90-degree lap pool, your air temp needs to be 2 degrees warmer than your water temp. So a lot of facilities, like at 5 Points, they have a therapy pool that runs 90 degrees, and then they have a lap pool that they try to sustain at 84 degrees. And the thing is, they will note, like the Springfield YMCA, in less than 10 years, by doing so, the YMCA had built a new facility, and in less than 10 years, they have over $1 million HVAC repair, because that's exactly what they were doing. They were heating the air temp with their swimming pool. And so you have to be very knowledgeable of what you do so you don't destroy the facility. But some of that knowledge I've been able to gain just over the years and exposures to competitive and commercial pools.
Mr. Silver?
Aaron, how are you planning on actually financing that, or, that capital improvement?
Well, hopefully through the 501c3, because I want it to be a self-sustaining facility and not draw out any funds. So if there are $50,000 in rentals for that year, those can be going to the repair, because like I said, it is once, noted to be an albatross, but obviously if it's maintained, a facility as it sits, you're $5 million ahead of anyone that wants to build a new pool.
But as a follow-up, though, the initial cost, you're not going to get that rental money up front. So
No, I
how are
have
you
that
planning
set aside.
Okay, got it.
Just let me make sure I understand the sequence of events here. You would look at taking ownership of the pool and doing the immediate updates that are needed.
Correct.
Paying for that out of your own pocket.
Correct.
Any additional capital improvements in the future, you hope to take that out of the ongoing funds of the operation itself?
Yes, and additional fundraising through a
Additional
501c3.
fundraising, okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, just a point of clarity. I thought you said previously that in partnership with us, that you wanted
That would be
to
excellent.
repair. Now you're saying you would assume total cost. So
Of that initial repair.
of the initial repair, you will assume the 250,000.
Well, it's the structural issue is the current, and yes, it will probably run for the repair on the diving well that we do not know, and the structural issue. And then in the next 3 to 5 years, it's up to $250,000 for the filtration and $250,000 for the repair of the roof. Just maintenance. The roof is not currently leaking.
So is that the 160,000 that?
That would have to be done immediately, correct?
Another question that I would have is that you had indicated that with Peoria High, the usage of the pool.
Correct.
Is that in a lease or is that just usage?
That would be in the agreement. I would plan on there having no cost to the school district for Peoria High. Now, if Richwoods were to rent the facility, obviously there's some other things, but Peoria High would have that would be within the agreement. That would be my wishes. So obviously maintain that for them. Obviously, I would not provide the coaching staff. That would be a district employee. but they would have the prime time is right after school. So I wouldn't be trying to run a learn to swim program if I would want Peoria High to be, to flourish like Richwoods and other swim programs that get to have access to right after right after school is out.
So currently, Matt, on, Matt, can you chime in? How many people right now is the park district paying to maintain this? You told me this is kind of a 24/7 job and you have a crew of how many people? 5?
Repair crew that we come in and out of there. Pause currently takes care of the main parts of it. We take care of the building, like anything that breaks down with pumps, motors, boiler, stuff like that. But I have 5 or 6 guys on my M&R crew.
Okay. Have you thought about that part of it?
Yes,
So you have 5 or 6 guys that would be on a crew to maintain the building? Like an on-call?
I'd have access to those, but they wouldn't have to be 24/7, but you would have to, I'm at the Ivy Club pool 3 times a day.
The 24/7 is you're on call 24/7.
Right,
I get
there,
it.
I would be on call
How
24/7.
often would you say that you're going to the building in the current state?
A lot.
Every day? Twice
No,
a
not
day?
every day. It depends on the season too.
Okay.
Wintertime's worse, of course. But I mean, when Paws first started up, I was there a lot. A lot.
And that is a lot with the current filtration system, obviously, which would need to be correct. But once that would be repaired, that would be much less, but obviously that would not be something that would be addressed immediately until
But
funds.
you do have a crew of people that would be,
Oh, absolutely.
and if I heard you correctly, you're saying Central would not have to pay anything to use the pool? Central has
Absolutely not.
priority.
No, I don't think that they should have to.
I agree.
Okay.
Trustee Martez,
And they would have priority.
one moment.
Whenever their meet structure was, if they had a Saturday meet of an invite, it wouldn't need to be, obviously, you couldn't rent to an ISI program. They would need to be, obviously, that pool is an excellent hosting for a sectional. They host it, so I mean, Peoria High or a District 101 would want to host sectionals at that pool. But yeah, the direct contact with Peoria High would be that there would be no cost to that program. To try to, same thing, to have it flourish, it's hard enough to have the swimmers, entice them to be part of the swim program. So you'd want to be able to make it easy for them to come walk right over after school and go to practice.
What about?
Aaron,
you-
I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your organization. The
Montez,
501
Trustee Montez, one moment, please. Ms. Wilson, you had something else to fix? She wasn't finished?
I just wondered, how long have you been interested in doing this, out of curiosity?
Wanting to have a facility,
Or
an open,
interest in Central Park Pool specifically, the community?
well, it wasn't an option because obviously the pool was leased.
Right, but I know you said you were not aware of like the Ameren bill. You got to think about the water bill, the electrical bill, the property
Probably the
taxes.
last 3, obviously there'd be a tax shelter with
True, 'cause you have a
property taxes.
501c3.
That is the most
But you
important.
haven't seen the Ameren bills or the water
Nope.
bills or anything yet? Okay.
Nope, but obviously if I'm taking nothing out, I can derive a good amount from Learn to Swim, Elite Swim Practice. I have an extensive background in coaching. I don't have, it's just a love and passion. It would be, I guess it would be a hobby that many would benefit from. And it's just the passion that I have currently. I guess one of my cousins said it well, when he exited the back door, he heard the screen. It was DA points. It's just a passion with golf. I have the same passion for swimming.
Okay. Trustee Montez.
Oh, I really admire your passion.
Oh,
for
I appreciate that.
Swimming, particularly in a competitive facility like.
Well, it's a
Central.
life skill. At a local club, we had just lost an individual, a 6-year-old girl, and actually one of my cousins that was their daughter's best friend went to a party and didn't go home. So it's a life skill that we all need to know.
Well, could you tell me a little bit more about your organization, DOC Swimming? Is it operating currently, and what? does
Well,
it support other?
no, because the 501c3, we ran the program for the YMCA, and we then contracted with the YMCA, and so it got to the point that being able to sustain and having access to all the other pools, and to be able to have access to 20 quality coaches in the area, it got to be a burden because we weren't running one facility. we had 3 facilities practicing at the exact same time, 30 miles apart from me. Well, not total, about a 30-mile radius. Chillicothe, Manual High School in Washington.
Aaron, one last thing.
Yes.
Have you estimated what your revenues would be, over a certain period of time in order to be, because it's very capital intensive as well as maintenance intensive.
Correct.
And so you have to have a rough idea where you're going to be able to get the funds to do the things you need to do.
The facility, just through rentals, the rentals of a weekend, usually for an ISI meet, would be anywhere for an 8-lane pool between $2,500 and $3,500 on a weekend, and that would be on the thin side. Because sometimes facilities rent for that, they rent for $1,500 per session, and most meets are 6 sessions, so it'd be between $500 and $7,500. But I'm not looking to, again, make a profit. It would be to be able to sustain the pool.
How many weekends?
Every
weekend, I would assume.
No, a conservative figure would probably be at least 15 weekends, because you would have high school invites for a male and female season. You have a winter short course season. That would be a very conservative figure, but probably pretty accurate.
Trustee Silver.
Can you pull the charge numbers up again? Or the costs? So I'm afraid I'm still a little bit concerned about what I hear as a discrepancy between the numbers that I'm seeing on this chart and the numbers that I heard you say. For example, you were saying roof replacement of 200,000, and here it says 700. And also, are you prepared, if the actual operating costs of the building exceed $350,000 annually, are you prepared for something like that?
Would like just probably would encourage myself to fundraise a little more.
That's a lot of fundraising.
Correct.
I mean, you say concern. I would be more than happy for you if the roof replacement came way under than what we're projecting in our numbers. President Johnson, I guess my question's for our board and the school board, but a part of this discussion is to figure out, where we are thinking and where our minds are landing. And so I appreciate the presentation and information that you've shared.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if there's an appetite for us to get into that discussion and figure out, based on our options that we have available, where we are landing as the two deciding entities here.
You finished? You have any other questions with me? Or? No,
Thank you. That was not toward you.
I would say I'd be
But
more
there
than
is a
happy to have a seat,
discrepancy.
but I can continue to share my passion. So.
That's fine. We certainly appreciate that. No, really. I like your passion. It's very important. And especially in our community with swimming. We're a river city. We're all concerned about getting more and more people to learn how to swim. Certainly.
Correct. And it's been a passion for a long time. I did work at another private club, was the clubs at River City. And I know I did have 2 coaches, because sometimes you say, well, what's your experience in being able to raise that? And obviously the individual, Lee O'Connell, has passed away, but his son is still living, Dan, and you can back that up. And in 1 year's time, from swim lesson and a 40-team 12 and under program, and I had 2 people to help me there. Didn't have anyone to help me in the other. I solely generated with 2 help of a swim team part-time, maybe 20 hours a week. I generated solely, because I did teach less than 6 hours a day, but I generated by myself $100,000. So Lee was willing to pay me $50,000 at the time, and then I decided but he wanted to have a non-compete clause, and that would not allow me to coach at the Y or coach high school, and I was coaching high school at the time. So we decided to part ways, because I would not sign a non-compete. Yes.
Can you pull up the options again, please? Okay, option 2. Okay, my question is, you have indicated to us that you would be willing to put in the costs for the structural beam, to pay for that.
And the leaking diving well,
And the week.
those
yes,
have to be
and
done immediately.
However, option 2 does indicate that the building to be sold. So my question is, are you proposing to purchase the building, or is it just to?
Maybe it
those-
would be great to maybe just, if the park district was to exit and could co-own it with the the school district, and not purchase you out. Have the same agreement to have some shelter for some of the cost expenditures, but not to be the crutch.
Well, the school district, we own the land.
Do they own a
Part of the
portion of the
land.
building as well?
Part of the land.
We own
We
all
don't-
of the land.
No,
Half of
you own
For
all
the
of the
parking
land.
lots,
You own a half of the building, so
no, but the surrounding property is district property.
can you go back to the map? Yes, but that L
Not the
shape.
building
Yes,
itself,
correct.
but I'm saying everything encasing it is Peoria Public School property.
Yeah, I would not be entitled to purchase that.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying, stating that as a clear observation. That we're not talking about the structure itself, we're talking about the landscape all around it.
Well, Mrs. McConnell, just to clarify, this map shows that the school district actually owns half of the land and the building. As well, and the other half is Park District. The only stake, to your point, that the Park District has is that Tetris block that's identified on the map.
I'm clear with that. I was just saying there's parking, our maintenance team takes care of the land.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like,
gotcha.
if this if this is the swim building, this is the surrounding area, this is Peoria Public Schools, and we got pieces of this cup.
I think
Right.
that's why this is a really important joint conversation, right? Because the way this map
Correct.
lays out and the way the building, you know,
Correct.
certainly those conversations around the complexity of this, it has to be something that we figure out together because the implications for both entities are significant.
Correct. I agree.
The outside is different? Nobody takes care of the outside of the building, except for that front square who's next to the parking lot, and we mow that. But the rest of it, no ground taken care of.
Our maintenance guys picks up trash over there.
No, it's over 2 foot tall now. The grass and full of trash,
Are you talking about on the back side of it?
both sides.
Miles.
Where the parking lot is
you want it
and
to
the
be?
black fence is?
That's all mowed.
Sorry, Miles. I wish I could do this for you, but I don't know how.
Yes.
Thank you.
We take care of that weird pie shape up there towards the, if you're on the right side of the screen, we mow that.
By the corner.
Yeah, by the corner.
So that's, which is where the parking lot is with the black fence.
But the rest of that whole yard, outside of the red, nobody takes.
President Wilson, is your grounds person still online?
Brandon,
Yes, I'm here.
Can you answer those questions?
Yes, the gentleman speaking, he's correct. The Park District takes care of that green space surrounding the facility there.
Aaron, going back, you clarified things a little bit more at the end there. You were saying you were hoping to have probably a public-private arrangement with Peoria Public Schools where you would manage the pool.
Yes, I would,
And you would pay the upfront
yep.
cost,
And-
the
and-
initial cost, but ownership could still be with the.
I would encourage that the school district continue to own half the building and all their land, and if the park district wants to continue, I think he says he's in
Yeah.
love with his land, he doesn't want to give up his land, and so that's fine, so.
Well, that's park district
Right.
property out, you
Right,
know, land.
so
landowner, but
obviously if I purchase, I would only be purchasing the building and not the land.
if you own the land, if that's your land, then, you know, everything.
Well,
I don't know,
but
we own the
you might-
land, is that, or
right.
they own the land?
We own the L shape.
The L shape, see, that's what we wanted, this is why I wanted a meeting with all of us, so we all could see this, who owns what, and who this what, I just wanted.
And so if, like I said, my only concern, if I don't own the land, which I don't have to do, it would just be like I said, some type of agreement, because if things were to go awry and no entity currently, if I wasn't here, you have the park district and the school district, and the building was maintained as it has for the last 10 years, someone would be tearing it down. Is that
If I may,
correct?
and this question is to Ms. Paris and the board. Ms. Paris, you made a great point that outside of that L shape, it is all the school district. And I think what I'm
Correct.
trying to wrap my head around is at what point does it make sense for the park district to own that L shape?
Correct.
And what point does it make sense for the school district to own all of it, being that you have a majority in the state? Right. And so would you agree with that? And
Absolutely.
And do you have potential interest as an individual and maybe as a full board of having that L shape, the rest of that?
Well, go ahead.
I mean, if I can answer him, where the complexity is, intergovernmental agreements work very well. They're clean legally. So that's a primary goal of a public entity. When public entities go in partnership with private entities, legally it gets very complex because we govern our funds with a different process. Private industry, he can raise money, he can do certain things that as a school board, our foundation can't. So with that in mind, I don't like that. And I don't like it because of the complexity. That's like me renting out my third floor in my house and letting somebody buy the third floor, but they got to come through my front door, my first floor, my second floor to get to their port, to get to their part of living. That's not wise. It's not comfortable. And as we all age, I might die tomorrow. He may leave here. Now we got to deal with corporation and a public entity. And being in government for 23 years, seeing a lot, that's not smart business.
I agree.
It just isn't.
No, I agree with all the points that you raised. I'm just trying to, as it pertains to what I think our role here as the park district, I'm trying to figure out, does it make sense for us to even have that L shape, excluding the private partnership
Correct.
idea? I'm just trying to answer, does it make sense for the park district to have that?
It doesn't to me, and I live in that community. 3 of my sons have graduated from there. We
Yes,
did
ma'am.
use that pool. My son, who's now at Northern University, we took infant swim there. I use the pool because it's my community pool. To that point, I have seen it's been in disrepair. My youngest son graduated from Peoria High 2019. Our football players use that for water therapy. From our championship year, from 2014 all the way to 2020. We had access to that pool. My sons took swimming lessons under PE.
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas City. PE swimming was mandatory. I don't know, I can't remember what the state of Illinois does, but swimming was a mandatory PE function. So my boys took swimming at Peoria High. I didn't know that it had vacated. I do understand pause, but I think a crowning question now is the park that you guys own and the park that we own. How do we get to this disrepair and this neglect is what's screaming in my head, because that is very concerning, especially when I agree with you. It's a great, facility. I've been to swim meets there. We utilized it for summer park district swim. And I admit I have not been in there since 2019 till Matt graduated. When we were in the playoffs, all of those years consecutively, that was our water therapy for 60 boys. It worked. And did not know it had come to the point to where it was no longer functionable until it came up in our meeting. So with all of that being said, it makes sense for the district to own it for several reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
For students, for community, for the benefit of it. Swimming is a life skill.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thank God that my parents had the insight that I took swimming as a child and my kids had swimming as a child. It's normal for us because it's great exercise for no other reason, but it's fun.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ms. Ross, Martha Ross had a comment?
I
Yes.
did.
for most, some of you probably were not part of the board. And I know many of the people here were not part of the board at the time, but I'm sure Mr. Johnson remembers offering this pool and maybe Ms. Cahill as well to the school district
Mm-hmm.
some years ago.
Yes.
And we're back to in my opinion, deja vu right now, looking at it again. But there was a point in time when it was offered. And what happened? What's the story? Administration basically did not want to take it on. It didn't have, the board didn't have any, actually, we didn't have any,
Which administration you talking about?
our administration.
It was the school district didn't want it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the park board
No.
at any rate, but, yeah, so we're back to where we were, back then. Do we want the pool and everything to do with it, or do we not? So that's bottom line, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
And you're willing to negotiate on that, right?
Yes, Mr. Slover.
Yeah, I just want to say Mrs. McConnell had a very, erudite thought process there about how she was looking at it, and this becoming very complex in the way that we're looking at it right now, especially when you start getting into all the long-term repairs that you have to put into the equation. Let me just say, Aaron, would it be something, with pause, we had a good arrangement with them. I don't see why you couldn't have that same kind of arrangement with the District 150.
Correct.
And help them with the repairs, which is what we were asking pause to do in that equation there. So it seems like, having a clean ownership, like you were suggesting, makes a lot more sense. And it allows you to basically be in control of your own destiny, if you will.
Correct.
And then you can basically look at it, and then that way it would give you the opportunity maybe to get some water, and the opportunity for the District 150 to have a good tenant that could fit in there really quick. So that's just, from what you were saying, it seems like those kind of things fit together a little bit.
And I agree with that.
Thank you.
I guess I'm sorry, wondering if other board members, school board members have a similar thought in terms of being positive towards the school district owning the pool and then having control over it and deciding how you would want it to operate.
So, before this meeting, I didn't know that the building was kind of split up like this. I thought that Peoria Park District owned the building and we own the land that it sit on. So honestly, I'm trying to put it through my head, really, what to do about that. I came in here with the thought, but that has kind of changed a little bit. So I'm just kind of taking it in, so that's just my thought process.
See, that is why I wanted us to meet as a whole, so that everybody, both the Park District Board and the Peoria Board of Education, we all be on the same page. We all know all the history and everything that was involved. Mark, you did bring back some things back. I forgot this is not the first time we brought this forth to the district. But yeah, now, do any of you have any other questions before I get to you? Hold on just one moment. Yes, Ms. Wilson.
It sounds like 10 years ago, or maybe more, there was a little bit of a falling out, and then PAW was a big part of this building still existing in the way that it is.
Correct.
Does your vision include PAW, the Peoria Area Waterways?
If they would like to lease it, like I said, it probably would be able to sustain. It would include any competitive swimming
Okay.
in the area.
The fact that they've kind of kept things going for the last decade.
Well, they've been in the
Seem like
building,
you've
but
done part of the
they've been in the building, but through Spear Industries, they were suggestions of repairs made that they said that they were interested in making because there were no funds. So I'm here to offer the funds. And again, I guess there would need to be some interest in, to me, to be able to make those repairs out of personal pocket. And I think that the school district would greatly be a winner. And like I said, I would have a tax shelter. They would be, I wouldn't see myself as a bad owner in conjunction. Obviously, that would all have to be worked out and there'd be some legal agreement need to be made. But I think my intentions and the longevity that I've been involved in the sport speaks for itself, being involved with Century 21 program at Manual and giving those swim lessons when Dr. Karat was in our building as president. And so,
Thank you for doing all of that, because
Oh, well,
our
thank
kids do need to know how to swim. We've lost 2 students in the last 5 months from drowning, and I
That
agree
is
with you on
true.
it. And I appreciate your passion and what you've been doing for the community. It's wonderful. I'm trying to figure out how this building is owned by 2 entities in the first place. And I'm new to the board, but I also thought that Peoria Public Schools owned the land around it in the parking lot, and that you guys owned the building, and maybe the small area there that you said it's been closed down, like a kid pool maybe, that's in the back?
Oh, that,
Or it's in the
yeah,
front, sorry,
on the side, yeah.
Okay. How in the world did the park district and the school district own half of a building? Like, so I guess one of my questions is, I can tell, I went there last night. Matt was nice enough to show up and let us walk around. And
Okay,
as
good.
we walked underneath, and I could see the standing water, and I can see that there's definitely some things that need to be addressed yesterday. Who's been paying for all that maintenance so far? Because you can tell there's a lot of Band-Aids down there, little patches, and it looks like over time,
Sure.
somebody's been sinking money. It looks like a money pit down there. Who's been paying for all those patches and fixes so far? Are we splitting it? Because if we own, so the park districts,
So in 1968, the agreement was established that all those things that you see on that list would be built together, right? And that land, the way the land is split up, forces us to collaborate on the pool, essentially. That was the theory, right?
was the L shape the way the land was plotted first?
Yes.
Okay, now.
So we own that, like Trustee Sierra called it the Tetris piece. We own that piece, but everything else around it is owned by the school district.
So the building was built after, and someone built a building? on
We
two
built the
different-
building together on top of it. The park district paid for the cost of building it, but then from 1968 all the way through 2013, the school district paid $25,000 a year to the park district, and you split those repairs with us. Okay? When you said, and not you, but in 2013, when it was determined that the school district said, we're out, and it was for very valid reasons at the time, right? Everybody goes through those financial struggles, you make those value choices. But when that happened, the park district was still managing it. We were, at that point, we supported Paul was the park district's program for competitive swimming. Competitive swimming is not something that really fits in our mission as we look at that, right? We're much more recreational focused, trying to teach kids how to swim. That competitive piece, as we had to figure out ways to tighten our belt too, Paul had the capacity and the interest at the time to privatize, take over the cost of their coaches, take care of the building. As part of our lease agreement with Paul, there was a set amount that we would contribute to the building every year, up to that amount. We exceeded it several times trying to support that. Paul did a great job of applying for grants to do some repairs. We worked together as part of operational maintenance to try to do the best we could with what we had. The reality is that the building is almost 60 years old. Anytime you have a pool, this is the kind of stuff that happens unless you have unlimited financial resources to manage that in a different way. We didn't have and don't have the capacity to replace all those things. So it is patching. This team has done an amazing job to keep us even to here, right? To have this conversation. So it's not, I understand that word, right, about neglect and whatever, but it's doing the best you can with what you have and maximizing those resources, which I feel very confident that this team does on a daily basis. When you reach the point, just a second, when you reach the point of that structural beam, that was a non-negotiable. And as we replace that beam, when you do that, anytime you take on a job of that gravity, of that scope, you know that that's the beginning, right? And it starts to multiply when you move things to get to the beam, and then what happens and how does it work? And that's where we had to say, this is where we have to draw the line, given all of the other things that we are trying to take care of as a park district. It's not ideal, but we have managed it collaboratively with Paul for as long as we could. Paul has determined that it makes sense to them that the resources that they have should go into their kids in swimming, and we honor that. And so we're at this point where we're all sitting here trying to figure out what to do, because it is something that is it's a treasure.
Yeah.
It's also a 60-year-old swimming pool, which is really hard.
Question about, explain to me why we had that land there. We actually had a central park. It's called Central Park Pool
Right.
there, on that corner. And
Peoria
I
Park
don't know,
District.
a real park. And it was adjacent to.
Now, I'm trying, I can't see anybody that's online Zooming. Dr. Karat, are you online?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you have anything you want to add to this conversation?
Well, I love the dialogue, and eventually it will be my board's decision. And I did come on late because I was having, so I did not, I would have been interested in hearing more of Aaron's presentation. I did not realize he was going to be part of the agenda. And, but my initial thought was that as a district, we have experienced offloading properties to individuals for $1, time and time again. And in the end, it never worked out well. And we ended up holding the bag. And a perfect example, I don't know if the board mentioned it, there was a lot of pressure for the board to sell the stadium, for example, for $1 to someone. And you can see through a lot of hard work and intentionality, what the board has done with the stadium by not going that route. So ultimately, this building, the land, the lot, it's embedded in, as Vice President McConnell said, it's centrally located. It's connected to us at the hip regarding Peoria High. We're definitely interested in revitalizing swimming for our kids, which have fallen by the wayside for quite some time now. So, there's some interest in, I mean, it's not something we would want to do willingly, just like the stadium, but if push comes to shove, we may very well have to bite the bullet and take it on and raise some funds. We're anticipating a minimum of $2 million to get this thing up and running and robust and vitalized like it used to be, and mostly provide access to the children in the area. I think someone referenced some kids, a number of our kids have succumbed to the water because they do not know how to swim. I'm from the Caribbean, so we had the ocean. We just ran into the ocean and trial and error, and we learned to swim. That's how I learned to swim. My son learned to swim through the Riverplex. He was, 3 years old, but a lot of our families cannot afford those amenities. So yeah, I mean, it's great conversation. If we have to, but I would love to hear more of what Aaron is proposing, and I apologize. I had issues because I came home and I have a new system, and so I had a hard time getting on. I got on later. So yeah, but those are just my wild thoughts based on the limited information that I've heard.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments of Dr. Karat?
No.
I know. Somebody over here, Mr. Ivory? Yes. Get your mic on, Larry.
It's on? Okay. I said, again, my apologies for being a little tardy. I had another board meeting with the PHA, so I didn't get a chance to hear the presentation, but I truly appreciate your passion. I understand the motivation for the Park District to unload this in terms of, because it's not something that is profitable. It's costing you money. It doesn't make good business sense to own it and still have the repairs and get nothing from it. So it's not a good business decision. And it's also good for us to have clear title and make sure that, one person has title, so you can negotiate whatever you want to negotiate with the property, and you're not dealing with two different boards having a conversation. But it still comes down to what makes good economic sense at the end of the day. And what thing that seems to be on the surface, without looking and running the numbers the way I would normally run numbers, is that they have a partner and create a relationship. And we can only hope that it is everything we want it to be. But it seems like it would make some sense on the surface for us to have ownership, to build a partnership relationship, but also to examine what the cost is. I think we have to do a lot more homework on the school board so we understand the liability, because once we own it, we own it. And we become responsible for it at the same time. So I would caution us to take our time and make a wise business decision, and really get more acquainted with our partner here in terms of his economic capacity and what he can and
Well,
can't do, and how we
some
can
of
help
it,
him.
sometimes it's not the depths of your pockets, but it's the birth of your knowledge.
Absolutely.
And this
Concur.
is the aquatics. I've lived and born for nearly over 45 years on a commercial level. I've learned to swim, running the facilities, obviously managed for someone else, kind of on a shoestring, but then some to a very high level. Obviously, one succumbed, the Willano's Country Club. Obviously, I just tried to do the best I could, but obviously then it was donated to the YMCA, where the YMCA is currently done, to then two facilities, Country Club of Peoria that worked with Spear Industries, over $1 million. And I saw and maintained and saw how well that worked when they had the shells were all there and all they did was plumbing and filtration, what needs to be done currently at the $200,000 to $250,000 value. So.
Well, the only thing I would say is that when you mentioned swimming, we have a number of our companies that we represent, infrastructure engineering especially, who is a diehard swimmer. And I bet you he would be interested in sitting down with you to help, perhaps even help fund some money. And I would be more than happy to help assist if the deal works, if it makes sense at the end of the day. So I'm saying I'm excited to move forward, but I'm still, a little bit optimally cautious about, what our liability would be and how to make sure that it doesn't come back to haunt us.
That's totally understandable, and I would wish you would to look at that aspect and not take it, not just take it lightly, because I'm not here to take it lightly. My end goal, and you'd have to talk to, it's been over a year, because it's a large sports club, and I'm not going to mention their name, but it's a facility, athletic facility. And my goal is to 1 year, because I don't have the philanthropist style, 160,000 is a stretch. Their entity is well into the low millions, but to obviously purchase that and then to work with a non-profit of a Y or whatever to bring a 50-meter pool to the area. So this would be, I guess, my practice pool. If I can prove that obviously something that hasn't worked for the last 10 years and has continued to not been in repair, it would give something, I guess, good faith to, I guess, maybe to hang my hat on this, says, hey, here's a small facility. It's bringing in 15, 20 weekends that we have meets. Mm-hmm. And now can the facility and the community bear a 50-meter pool? And there's only about 3 of those still left, and only a couple of them can do competitive swimming out of it. There's one in Quincy, Illinois. The Decatur pool is closed. Willano's Country Club has a 50-meter pool, but you cannot dive at either end. And I know the Y is not looking to do that. So to be able to build a 50-meter pool here in the center heart of Illinois, because this facility actually in 1978, we hosted the Peoria YMCA swim meet. And if you notice, there's no seating, maybe for numerous athletes on the pool deck, but my parents were a member of that. And when we hosted that, Betty Core and Frank Hewitt were our coaches. And all the students, the swimmers, because they were students, but obviously student age athletes, but they were members of all the Ys across the state of Illinois were housed in the gymnasium across the street you do not see. And in 78, if you remember that year well, it was very cold, blizzard type weather. So if you can imagine a little 8 and under going from his swimwear, swimsuit, hopefully he had on a
Wow.
parka or some. And after that year, it was stated that at the YMCA, the staging area for the athlete and the swimming pool had to be in the same building.
Okay. Mr. Sierra has been waiting a while to make a
Yeah,
comment.
I have. Aaron, I really appreciate all the presentation that you've done. And I wanted to preface that because I want to remind us why we are here at this meeting.
Thank you.
And while your presentation is definitely helpful, the I think bottom line here is if and when a decision is made about the land and the building, then it is going to be a better position time for someone like yourself to pitch to whomever or et cetera and so forth. And so as it pertains to the point of this discussion, what I'm hearing, at least from the board members, is that the discussions make sense for some of you, maybe not all of you, to seriously consider what it means to take on the building and land rights that the Park District owns. And so I really want us to get into that discussion more.
Yes.
Because honestly, we will love to hear a business plan all night, but that's the point of this discussion.
Excellent.
Yes.
What makes sense for the two entities.
Okay, you had a comment? We had 3 people that come. Ms. McConnell, you had something
Yeah,
to say too.
I was just gonna
Yes,
say, I
yes.
appreciate, I was kind of almost going to say what Alex was saying, so that we can kind of clean up
Yeah,
some of the
that's what-
gray areas, so that when we leave here, we have a continuity and a basic understanding between the Park District and the public
This is
school
what-
system.
what we want,
And then, of
right.
course, when we decide what we are gonna do, it's nice to know that we have a private partner who we might consider. I just want us as a board to be mindful, and up until 2013, what was going on worked and was still working in concert as late as 2019. Somewhere where things shifted or somebody dropped the ball and the memorandum of understanding, that's all in the history book. I imagine if we went back through our minutes, we could find that. Of course, our current superintendent's been with us for 10 years. Has it been 10 years? Dr. Karat's been here 10 years? Okay, 9 years. So then her history picks up.
11,
okay,
2015.
Okay,
11.
so then that, so
11 beautiful years.
okay, so that takes us back to, just by, numbers, that takes us back to 2013, 14. So with that in mind, thank you. And if you can give Cammie your contact information, so that in the event, if we decide to assume ownership, then that'll be a separate conversation that we would have with you to work out any logistics, but it's not wise for public entities and private sector entities to co-own a joint building. And I say that very confidently because of my years of experience. 15 years with IDOT, 4 years with the state treasurer, now in the Gov's office. IDOT property acquisition was one of the things that I dealt with all the time. And when we had eminent domain, some people didn't want us there, but we took 9 feet of farmland because we had to add a right-of-way. And understanding that, that's too complex. People have offered that to the state, and the state funds and federal funds govern differently than private sector funds, and we just have to respect that.
Thank you. Now, there is another gentleman here that he wants to chime in, and this is the gentleman that's with Pause. Is there any comments that you want to bring forth or anything? I just want everybody to be mindful of all the parties involved.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you. You had something too? No, we're fine. Go ahead.
Derek Ammerman. I am a proud graduate of Peoria High School.
Well, I won't, okay.
Been the head coach of Pawn out in the last, well, technically speaking, I've been Pawn's head coach 3 times. They went through some, but the thing I came here for, I was invited by a couple of board members. And somebody said earlier, I can't remember who it was, is that the pool trip? Absolutely unexist. I've been there in some capacity. History, generally speaking, I'll know all about it. And I really, as look, could you please?
Flip his mic.
Okay, I'm loud enough.
Alicia, push his button.
Push the button for him.
Push the button.
You gonna push his button?
I know.
There you go.
I know, I know.
Am I on now?
Yes, you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank
Good.
you.
So like I said, I've been there since 1983, and I'm here tonight to try to convince the Park District and District 150 to keep the pool open. So to give you a little bit of background, when we took over in 2014, we basically took over all operating expenses, the water, the chemicals, the electricity, all that kind of stuff. And before I forget, I want to point out Matt Majors, obviously along with Emily, have been great to work with over the past years. I mean, anytime, Matt, when he said he was on call 24/7, he really was. Like, he was on call for us. Like, our guy who you call him and next day it would be fixed. I mean, and we love the partnerships with you guys, and we appreciate you. Some of the things that we've done, we got a grant from USA Swimming to bring in the Boys and Girls Club. We had Girls Light Our Way come in, and they got free lessons. One of the things that I implore to the district, if you guys do decide to take this over, the first thing you got to do is make sure that it gets programmed right, so that you guys aren't losing money hand over fist. That's so over the past few years, we've actually been able to break even operating a pool. And that was because we brought in the rentals. We brought in, like Coach Points was talking about, we brought in rentals, Peoria Notre Dame, Peoria High School swam at Central. We leased it to them and gave them a pretty good deal. And so Peoria High was with us. We had all kinds of different things. We had swim meets. We had scuba clubs that would come in and do all kinds of stuff. But the thing that when I first approached this, and Mr. Johnson was on the board at the time, some of the things that I've been doing is I've been talking closely with a gentleman by the name of Cullen Jones. Cullen Jones, if you guys don't know, was a gold medalist in the 4x100 free relay. It was the one that Michael Phelps took to 8. Cullen Jones is from North Carolina, and he grew up in an underprivileged community. And he had a program that he was able to learn how to swim. Went on and swam at NC State, gold medalist. And now he's doing things for all these programs all over the country. It's called Make a Splash. And he comes to various areas if they're in need. And I had met with him in April to let him know that Peoria, I think, is definitely in need of teaching, especially the underprivileged, how to swim and how to, get that out there. And so that's why we took the initiative of trying to get, free lessons for people, because not everybody has access to that. We were able to do this. And again, like I said, our partnership with the Park District was absolutely fantastic. We loved working together with you guys. And hopefully, I guess my thing is, if you guys do decide to continue with the pool, if you ever have any questions or any needs that you guys want to, my door is always available. I will be more than happy to help. I like I said, I'm a Peoria High grad. My wife works in the district, and it's a great school district to come from, and hopefully you guys will be able to take care of it, because I love the old girl.
Okay.
So I do. She's my second home. I'm gonna miss her.
All right.
Any questions for anybody?
Nobody has anything?
Nice.
I do before you go, Derek.
By all means.
Who has the power bills and
We do.
the water bills, power bills?
We do.
Could you share that with us?
I can, yeah.
Do you have?
I don't have it personally, but I do have people who can, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to. Sure. Just let me know what your name is and all that stuff, or I'll just give you my phone number right now.
You know what, Derek? I can text you her email address.
Okay, great, perfect.
And then the numbers that you guys had on the screen with the, I think it was about $1 million was the estimate. Did you guys give us a copy of the? Was it? Okay, good. I just want to get numbers. So, okay, thank you.
Well, I appreciate everybody here and trying to keep Central Pool open. Thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you.
And Derek, from one manual high graduate to another, thank you.
Oh, no, you're my pleasure. You guys didn't hear this, but I was here a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me he's from Manual, and because I said I was from Central, and I go, there's two types of people in this world. Those who are Central Lions and those who wish they were.
Listen, yes. Anyway, thank you again, Derek.
So
Okay.
President Johnson.
Yes, President Wilson.
If I can, just to kind of step in, I do know that, us as a board needs to discuss. I think we heard a lot of information. We have a lot of that now. I would go on record and just say, I think we have what we need to kind of take that back. If none of our board members have anything, or, if there was anything else important that you would want to say, got a lot of information to kind of think about.
Just quickly, I do want to note, I'm sorry for this, okay? But when Paul leaves on September 15th, we do need to make decisions about what happens to the water. If we are to drain the pool, that can be drained for a limited amount of time, but then you do start to impact negatively the filtration systems and all the processes. If you're going to leave the water in there, if we're collectively going to leave the water in there, then that requires chemical upkeep and tracking and daily checking and all those things. And there are potentially safety concerns that we need to talk about. And so it is something that I appreciate the diligence that this is going to take, but we need to work together so that we figure out what needs to happen on September 16th.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That would help us if we just get estimates, like Derek's gonna send us bills and things like that. But what does the bare minimum maintenance require? Because that would be a budget item for us and
Absolutely.
for us to examine that. But I think it is critical for us to clean up this ownership chaos.
Yep.
Because that blows my mind. Did not know that was happening. And I call myself a community involved person, that my ear is down to the ground knowing what's going on in my community. I live on Armstrong. I'm a part of the Armstrong Ellis community, and I love my neighborhood, and we take care of it. And I wish I had known that when Central did the big renovation. I remember Dave McKinney when Central did the science wing, the new baseball field, the new soccer field, several hundreds of $1,000s that were invested in that. And the assumption, and I remember as a parent and PTO president, that was one of our key conversations, was the pool. And Dave at the time reassured us there were no issues with the pool. And I guess that goes back to when Moses started going there in 2009. I wish I had understood how this alignment was, because that would have been one of our biggest push as we're investing in that from Nebraska all the way over to Interstate 74. That could have been something that we could have dealt with, treated, acquired. There's funding sources, there are allocations, there's so many things that take time in terms of feasibility studies to tap into state and federal funds and some other things. So now that I understand that, that's a really big light bulb, for me. But I was one of the biggest advocates of Peoria High, taking care of Peoria High's pool.
Sure.
Under my understanding, and I don't understand for the life of me, why would the district spend so much money doing everything around it and not have a clean, clear line of ownership and responsibility for a treasure that sits in the middle of our house, in theory.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah,
Miss,
President
um,
Johnson, can I just say something quickly as we, I guess, it seems like we're exiting?
Yes,
Yeah, President Johnson and President Dr. Wilson, I would, I, yeah, one of the things I would say is the selling of the Central Park pool to an external individual for $1 was actually a huge bombshell to us. We were literally very shocked by this. It was really not on any one of our radars as a district. And so one of the things I would recommend, and I know my board, as President Wilson mentioned, they have enough information, they'll go back, they'll deliberate, they'll talk about it, come up with a decision. Whatever decision is made, I'm recommending that the park district not just drop this thing like a hot potato, but continue to work with Peoria Public Schools, while, depending on the decision made, while a plan is made, continue to work collaboratively with us within a range of 6 months to a year. So I just kind of wanted to throw that idea out as well.
Dr.
Could you bring
Karat,
up the options, please, again,
Yes.
the slide?
Dr. Karat, one moment. I don't know, we want to work with you. We will be working with you closely, but we have no, we didn't say anything about selling anything, at least not the board, for $1. I don't know where that come from. That's,
Came from me.
oh, okay.
So that was a conversation that we had about the opportunity to look at our options to address the capital needs. And it was a conversation that we had that was not formal in any way. It was an informal conversation that said that that's something that we should talk about, what the variety of options were, including the opportunity to allow someone's capital to go into the building, which ultimately saves all of us resources and keeps an asset open.
President Johnson, and if I may, the Park District is not doing is proposing that we drop anything.
Amen.
Correct.
In fact, after the school district, a different administration issued that letter, the Park District has been footing the bill in terms of the maintenance and operation solely. And so not only are we engaging in good faith to make sure we do this collectively, but we're doing it in a transparent manner
Yes.
because everyone is demanding answers, and the Park District is remaining committed to what we have already been doing, which is being a shared partner on this project.
And I agree with that as well, except all of the revenues, the Park District was solely receiving those as well. But we're moving forward and it's been great conversation. I just wanted to throw that out there on behalf of the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silver.
Okay. Could you bring up the slide that has the options? I just want to wrap things up on our end and make sure that what I've been here, kind of summarize what I've been hearing. It sounds like that as a group, both boards, we are all leaning toward option one, with the further potential that after we do option one, then the school board can consider then partnering with somebody like Pause or Aaron or somebody else if that's what you'd like to do. But it seems like, from what I've been hearing, that we've really kind of seems like we're all heading toward option one, and correct me if I'm wrong, but.
Mr. Silver, I would just say, I'm just gonna hold off on saying we're leaning anywhere.
Okay.
Until we speak and come to a consensus on that. I just don't want to put that quite out there for all of us yet.
Sure, okay.
Yep.
And remember the September 16th deadline? Is that what it was, about the water at Central Pool?
We just need to have some direction to talk about what to do, whether that is a short-term maintenance, or if you are contemplating a replacement or something else, then that's less critical, as when you take that system down, it will be very hard to bring it back up as is. Is that fair?
Thank you, Major.
So just as a point of clarity, because we know this is a time-sensitive move, and I think we can say we're leaning towards option one. We just have not solidified. We have to work out what does option one entails. And so, because option two is not smart, and option three doesn't make sense to me either. So I just want us to leave here on the same page with some clarity, because otherwise we just met and we didn't find any agreement. So I think it's safe for us to at least say that we're leaning and we're gonna work with our legal team and follow through in the interest of time, because we're 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ms. Karat, I mean, Harant, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Karat, you mentioned being concerned that, and or wanting to make sure that the Park District was committed for 6 months to a year. I'm not exactly certain what you were meaning by that. What was the commitment you were thinking of?
Dr. Karat?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Harrens, for the comment. I think as our president and vice president mentioned, this is still very, very new to us. So they'll go back, they'll deliberate, they'll provide some guidance to me or president will communicate directly with President Johnson. But the overall thinking was just not dropping us like a hot potato, whatever decision it may not be. I mean, it may be a moot point, but if in fact it's necessary that we continue to work collaboratively, and President Johnson has reiterated that, that at least I got that sense from him. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I know I personally am always committed to wanting to collaborate and keep talks going, and especially given this timeframe with September 16th, that we can come together and say how that will equitably be handled and move forward from that. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, because you're right. This is really a shock to the board and to myself as well. So with this looming deadline, as Vice President McConnell mentioned, it's 2 weeks. And this is a huge decision. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you all. Any other comments or anyone got anything else to say? Ms. McConnell, I also want to reiterate, I too was a PTO parent at Roosevelt Magnet School, the original, my wife and I. So I know what that involves, working with schools. Okay, anyone else has any other concerns or bring forth?
Mr. Johnson, could I
Yes.
say something, please?
Yes.
Okay. Our board, once we get a chance to
Who-
collaborate
oh,
and
is that Ms.
discuss.
Rose?
Yes.
Yeah, could you identify yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Christina Rose, Peoria Public School Board of Education. After our board gets a chance to talk collectively, we have an open session board meeting on Monday, September 8th, which is before your September 16th looming deadline. So I don't see your timeline being unreasonable or something we aren't able to meet by. I'm sure we can get you a consensus before then, because I would anticipate if we were going to make a decision, it would be on our September 8th agenda. So I just wanted to comfort everybody with that September 16th deadline.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any other concerns, you want to bring forth? From the school district, park district? Okay, well, thank you all. I really appreciate that. This is the reason why we wanted a meeting, so everybody can know exactly what's going on, being transparent. I appreciate every one of your comments and your ideologies, but the Peoria Park District Board of Trustees here will always be willing to work and help in any way that we can. So thank you. Now, do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, please.
Before you're doing.
Yes.
I want to say thank you for the hospitality.
Thank you. All right. We're glad you're here. So is there a motion to? Oh. You certainly can. I get it.
There, we have some upstairs too for you.
Yes. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
All right, we have to do it too.
Oh, we have to do it too? Oh, okay. Is there a motion on our side? All in favor? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.